YouTube, what's up with it? It's NVclosetmedgrower, your homie, Mr. Big Dookie, and we're back for harvest of our Beyond Dreams by North Genetics. See, this was a beast of a plant, and it was the first plant that I finished under the Duolux 600 by TopShelfLight.com. This light right here. So, let's get right into it and take a look at what we've harvested. Now this plant I grew to fill out a 4x4 tent, and it was just a little bit shy of that. Its canopy space was, I would say, probably a little over 3 foot wide by 3 foot, in a large circle in the middle of the tent in a scrog net. So let's start talking about how this harvest went. I started harvesting this on day 52, I believe it was, when I first started harvesting some of these right here, because this is a very quick flowering phenotype. And I finished harvesting it by day 57, which is today. I just finished harvesting it a little bit ago. So all of these buds here at the far left were freshly harvested. All these at the far right are actually almost dry and about ready to go in jars. So what I had done was started harvesting as much as I could the first day, which is all of this bud pretty much right in there. And then after I got done harvesting as much as I could the first night, I pulled the entire plant down through the scrog and pulled the entire thing out of the tent, so I was still able to use the tent for my next plants that wanted to go in. And then I slowly took my time over the next 4 or 5 days, harvesting as I got time. So all of this came down the first day. Some of this right in here came down the second day. Most of this right up here came down the third day. All of this right in here came down the fourth day. And then all of this plus this little bit overflow right here came out today is what I finished harvesting. So let's take some close-ups. In fact, we'll start off with the freshest buds over here. Take a good look at it. So as you can see, my frost coverage is phenomenal. It's just stacked with trichomes on trichomes on trichomes. And in my experience from growing with LEDs, that is a normal occurrence. They really do a great job at maximizing your spectrums that are needed to push out oil production within these plants. And this Duolux 600 definitely showed those same improvements. And I could definitely tell when I was harvesting it, like the smells are just over the top, overbearing, like berries, wild berries, blackberry, raspberry mix. Just did a really, really phenomenal terpene profile on this plant. So the other thing I can say about it, like most LEDs, it kept a very short stretch on this plant. So it really didn't stretch up through the scrog nearly as much as what I think it would have if I would have been using a HPS light to flower it. And my bud density is spectacular, so I'm pretty happy. The light itself pulls less than 600 watts out the wall, and to compare it to a 600 watt HPS, I think this light does a far better job. So pretty happy so far with it. And I'm also very happy with the strain. So see, some of these got harvested. These are been drying about 30 hours or so, a little over a day. Just beautiful. Love them trichomes. See if we can get in a little closer. It's hard to hold you all stable when I get that close. So yeah, overall very, very nice. Let's get in here and look at a couple of these that are just about dry. Looking really, really nice. So yeah, I'm excited to get smoking on this this strain again. It's been a few months since I've had any of this finished and cured, even though I have ran it a couple times before. So far so good. Pretty happy with it. So that's what my buds look like. You can see down here I have a couple little straggler buds there to the left. I just fell off of colas that are drying out down there. And to the right I have a bunch of trim. All this trim, I come in here and turn it every day to make sure it isn't causing any mold or excess moisture pockets down inside it. And I'm letting it dry out along with the bud because I'm going to have a friend of mine blast that into BHO. So he's been working really hard practicing his BHO skills, and I think it'd be fun to get some of my trim blasted. So I'm going to let that dry out for, 5 to 7 days, and then after that I'm going to try to cure it in a jar for like a week or so, and then I'm going to, maybe 2, and then I'm going to see if he can blast it as some, mildly cured trim run. So let's get into structure and roots. See, this was in a scrog net, like I said, and you can just see how it was stretched out. Ridiculously crazy structure. Also, it was a monster clone to start. That means it was a clone taken in the first week of flower. So some of the flowering hormones already had changed, and it had a little button bud on the top of it. Then that bud shot out with all new growth out of that as it reverted back into veg mode, and that's why we got so many crazy structured tops all coming out of one point of the plant. So it worked very nice though for keeping my structure short and wide and fitting it inside my scrog net as I wanted to. So I'm happy about that. Beautiful structure, came along well, nice thick stalk on it. Let's see, some good stuff. So let me see if I can get this lifted up and we can look at some roots. Whoa! Root zone was not as thick as I would want it, but yeah, and that's probably due to my lack of veg time. I actually wanted to veg this a little bit longer after I put it in its final pot, but I was kind of stressed for time in getting this plant into flower and getting it finished in the time frame I wanted. Now the nice thing you can see is there's really, really nice fish boning effect here on these roots, and they're very, very healthy, especially considering this plant hasn't been in any light in the last 4 days. It's just been sitting in the middle of my grow room without any water or light. So these roots have been starting to dry out and such, and are still looking rather healthy and pretty. So unfortunately I got a bit of a mess to clean because it wasn't as thick of a root zone as I'm used to, and I couldn't just set it on the side of my pot like I normally do. So that's the grow anyways for Beyond Dreams by North Genetics, grown by TopShelfLight.com's Duolux 600 light in my garden. So hope you guys enjoyed the grow, and hoping I end up with a pretty nice yield here. It looks like I am. This is a 2 foot by 3 foot tent. You see I got it pretty much solid filled with buds, so should be nice. So alright, I think I'm getting out of here. I know Big Duke's tired and it's pretty late at night, so we'll go out on one more close up here. Look at some trichomes. See how close we can get. There you go. Trichome crazy in there. Just stack trikes on top of trikes on top of trikes. Alright y'all, it's NVclosetmedgrower, and I'm out of here. Peace.